Hi, everybody. I see a lot of avatars. I don't see a lot of faces, but nice to be with you guys. Hi. Uh, Friday afternoon. I hope some of you are holding a beverage at this time. So my name is Peldi. My legal name is Giacomo, but only my mom calls me Giacomo when I'm in trouble. So I go by Peldi, Peldi Carota, because I was carrot top growing up. So it's also better for SEO. I could get peldi.com, you know. So I am Italian, but I lived in San Francisco for a long time. I worked at Macromedia. Some the older people might remember that. I worked on the Flash communication server, which was a multi-user server, and then we got bought by Adobe. So then I worked on a tool very similar to Google Meet, but it was too early. The internet was not fast enough, and so it didn't go anywhere. Anyways, at some point in 2008, I got the idea for Balsamiq, which is a low-fidelity wireframing tool. And I got this idea from working with a product manager who had wonderful ideas. She knew exactly what the customers wanted, and she was a very visual thinker, but she had no way to express her ideas. And so she would go to the designer and beg for some time to do some mock-ups of what she had in mind. She tried to make these mock-ups in Excel at some point or PowerPoint, and she was struggling. So she asked me, I was a developer then, she asked me for help to find her a tool that was as easy as PowerPoint, so that she could use it and to do just these, we called them mock-ups, but really what we meant was wireframes. And so I looked for a tool for her for a few weeks and I couldn't find one. And I thought, hey, maybe I can make it for you. So I decided to try it out. And I said, okay, I'm working on this project at work now. It's gonna ship in 8. When that ships, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna spend a year trying to make this thing a reality. Um, because really, I was a developer, but all I wanted to do was to become a product manager, and they wouldn't let me at Adobe because they had this rule where you had to have gone to business school in order to be a product manager, which is, it was early days. They didn't really know what product managers were all about. And so I even considered going to business school. And then thankfully, some friends said, no, 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 read this book instead. So, anyways, so I thought, you're not going to let me be a product manager. Maybe I'll quit and I'll be a CEO. Obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't have any idea of what I'm doing 17 years later. But so I quit and I said, my company's probably going to fail like 9 out of 10. So keep my job, please. I'm probably going to move back here next year. So we moved to Italy because it's cheaper to live here. I had a 2-year-old at the time. And so I put away a bunch of money during those 8 months and I worked nights and weekends. And then 4 days after quitting Adobe, I launched Balsamiq. And to my great surprise, it was immediately successful. It really blew up in my face. We were the right tool at the right time, riding the wave of UX, user experience. This was 2008, becoming more and more important. And that's it. So I've been growing, but I'm a solo founder, no investment, no outside investment. And I've been growing Balsamiq as slowly as possible. I wanted to build a company of one person. Because my goal was to learn all the different things that are needed to make software. And so if it was just me doing it, I had to forcibly learn all of it because nobody else was going to write the terms of service or the privacy policy or, integrate with the shopping cart or do support. I wanted to learn all of it. And so I started by myself, and it grew really quickly. And so about 8 months later, I had about 3,000 customers all over the world. So I started drowning in customer service requests because the product was kind of rough, was very 1.0. He had some issues. And so I decided to hire a programmer here in Italy. I moved to Italy. I said that already. But a lot of my customers are in the US. And so right after, I hired a customer service person in the US so that the time zone was going to be better. And then, yeah, we've gradually grown and grown and grown with the same product, pretty much. It hasn't changed too much in the last few years. I mean, since the beginning, really. We've done various improvements, but the concept is always the same, which is low fidelity wireframing of user interfaces. So key screens for your web app or your mobile app or website or whatever you're building. Now we are about 30 people between Italy, Germany, France, Illinois, and California. Is that a good enough intro?
Very good. You answer already a lot of my questions, but let's see if we can.
Have a good weekend.
Bye bye. Let's see if we can get something more out of it. So, what was the challenge for you to grow and go from a solopreneur into a team of 30 people? And how did you grow the team? How are you structured? What kind of?
It was terrible. It was terrible. I wanted to just be by myself with my code and my customers, crafting my little tool like a falegname, like a woodworker, But I was forced to hire because I thought I was going to die. I was, doing email all week and then coding in the weekend. After 6 weeks, I woke up sweating cold one day and I said, I have to hire somebody. And so as long as we was, 2, 3, 4 people, we were kind of like all doing everything. It was a small team. It was all right. But then as we kept growing, I realized that I had to switch to being a manager. I never wanted to be a manager. I didn't want the company politics of Adobe. I ran away from that. I had 13 layers between me and the CEO. And then I realized that all we talked about was internal politics. Who's going to get this promotion, that promotion, right? I just wanted to be thinking about customer problems or innovation rather than internal politics. So I really wanted a small. That's right, Danilo. You know the story. I really wanted a small company, and so when actually we were about 5 people, I was kind of comfortable with that. We got an acquisition offer, and I was like, "This is perfect. I can hire myself a boss, so I can go back to coding." Because the problem is, the company was successful because I was a good coder, good designer, right? And all of a sudden, you have to make this switch to the company would lose the best programmer they have and gain a shitty manager, right? And the company's just getting started, and so it's a very dangerous, fragile moment. But I've heard this happens to everybody. If you're successful and you don't come from a manager background, you have to kind of make this leap, and it's terrifying. And so it actually took me a good decade to stop coding. And even now, today, I was, they asked me to help with some internal tool. I was like, yes, thank you so much. I get to
finally good work.
Finally, I get to have some fun rather than managing. So yeah, so it's been a challenge, but then over time, I've learned about it. I keep studying, and it's not I'm not very good at it, but I'm okay, I guess.
And last time you were telling me about some attempt you did at organizing the company in a particular way, like you created your own way of managing the company, right? Rather than
so
by the book.
So there's this piece of advice that people give, which is, oh, your company is your second product, right? because you've built one product, it's successful. Now you have to build a company and just treat it like it's your second product. You know how to build products, you can do it again. And that is toxic. It's horrible advice. But it worked for me because I was like, okay, good. I know how to build a product. I'll build another product, it's a company. And so that meant that every issue we had, my initial instinct was, okay, let's do a little user research, a little discovery, and then we design our own solution. We innovate. We do it our own special Balsamiq way. We come up with our policy. We test it. We run it right. So much effort in creating these vacation policy. I mean, the most basic things that people just expected to work a certain way, we would be always done. No, we can revolutionize how people do vacation policies, right? And I don't know why, we did it that way, but it was such a waste of energy because of it. Inevitably, after a while, our policies started not working. And then we would tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. And in the end, we end up with the best practice that everybody else does, right? So we should have just started that way from the beginning instead of trying to innovate in everything. Now, being so innovative as a company was a great recruiting tool because people wanted to try this new thing. We said we were going to be flat until we were 35. And I mean, it was a disaster. But, it sounded really new and exciting. So for recruiting, it was great. But not a lot of customers buy Balsamiq because of the way our vacation policy works. They don't care. And so, and even for the recruiting, it backfired because eventually we had to kind of throw it all out the window. And now these people that joined because we were different are like, oh shit, now you're a normal company, So it's challenging. So now we are running on this, which everybody else is doing. EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. This is great because it has a book for the founders. And then, hang on a second. Where are they? Oh, here they are. It has a million YouTube videos. There's a book for the founders, a book for managers of companies that run EOS, a book for individual contributors that run EOS. And I can just say, okay, this is how we work. Read this. You have a question, ask ChatGPT. It's such a common thing. Everybody, it knows how to answer. I don't have to think about it. So now we're doing the same thing again for our design and development process. We're taking another best practice.
Step up.
Yeah, stop inventing how to work. No one cares. Why are you spending all this energy reinventing the wheel? Just use the best practice.
Awesome. Great advice.
It took me 17 years.
Great advice. But how is your team structure at the moment? So it's 30 of you, but do you have product managers, designers, engineers, data team?
We're following the book. So we have 3 departments now. We have CX, UX, EX, customer experience, which is marketing and support. We have UX, which is product, user research, design, engineering, and EX, employee experience, which is admin, HR, legal, stuff like that.
And out of 30 people, how big is the engineering product?
Engineering is 18 out of 30. Yeah. Most of the group is product. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's go back talking about the product. So actually there is a question. So can you explain the reasoning behind growing your company slowly?
I didn't want to be a manager. So I didn't want people in the company. And I have seen lots of companies grow really fast and implode because of it, or have to be forced to sell. It's the same reason I didn't get any funding. I get emails from venture capitalists about twice a week since the very beginning. And I just don't want to. I just want to have my little company, and I don't have the ambition, or it sounds terrifying to have a giant company. It's just not what I want. So I've been trying really to grow it as little as possible. I would rather have a tiny, efficient team with less revenue but good profitability. It's just easier to manage. It's just I don't know. It sounds less stressful.
How many customers, users do you have?
It's hard to tell because with desktop, one person buys it and lots of people use it. But we have sold our tool over 800,000 times. Now, the cloud version right now, I think it's about 12,000 subscriptions, going up and down a bit. But yeah, but a lot of it is still desktop users.
And tell us a little bit about the product. I think we talked a little bit about this last time. So you started with the desktop version of it, probably because the browser wasn't as powerful as it is now. And now you did a cloud version. How did that go? And
yeah. So I wanted to start only a web version, and the browser was okay. I mean, the first versions were built in Flash, which is what I knew, that I was an expert in. So it was okay capability-wise, but people just didn't trust the cloud yet because people still went offline sometimes. Remember those days? Or they didn't trust their data being in the cloud. They were just used to buying a license, installing the tool on, the Microsoft Office before they went online. And so I really didn't want to do a desktop version, but during the beta, people convinced me to it. So I did a little desktop wrapper to the web version and started selling that. And that's what kept us in business the first few years. It was 80% of the sales. So I became a shareware guy in 2008, 9, 10, 11, which is too late for that in my view. But so over time, then as people understood SaaS and it became more normal, the two things swapped. Desktop went down, and now cloud is our primary version. Yeah.
And how has the product evolved in the last 17 years? So I was probably one of the early adopters. I really remember using Balsamiq probably 15 years ago. Awesome tool. But how has the product evolved? What kind of maybe new trends or new features or new things came up and you had to adapt to?
Yeah, I mean, the functionality has pretty much been the same. I guess what happened was, I think it happens to all long-standing products. You go through phases of adding features and phases of pruning features that you wish you never added. So like we had a phase where we were kind of trying to court pro users. And so we added a bunch of advanced features, and then the tool became kind of complicated and a little, only for certain people. And so we spent a few years gradually hiding more the pro features, removing them a little bit, which is very hard, as you know. So there's been periods of expansions and contraction. Every few years we do a new coat of paint, a new design system to keep it a little bit modern. And then we've added features that took a while to build. Like find and replace was actually pretty hard to build, and so we added it kind of late in the game. Then we at the beginning each wireframe was a single file. Then we changed the file format to be a project that included everything. We added the trash, we added the version history, commenting, all the stuff that is useful for the web, for interacting on the web. Then we modernized the look and feel of the wireframes themselves. We created 2 more skins, we call them, so that you could use one if you were just doing it for yourself and one if you were doing a presentation. So, we're constantly adding stuff in response mostly to customer feedback, but also market forces. So now maybe later I can give you a little sneak preview of a new vision but maybe we won't record that part because it's really, really
top secret.
But I'd love to hear your feedback on it. It's basically adding AI to the tool in different ways to make it faster and better than it is today.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, right? So with Bolt, Lovable, V0, all these like super fast prototyping tools,
Yeah.
How are you adapting? And
Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed is that they are the first few prompts when you try Bolt or Lovable, your mind is blown, right?
amazing,
Incredible.
amazing.
This is magic. I love it. I have a superpower, especially if you're not a programmer, right? Amazing. Then you start using it for real work, and you're like, okay, prompt. Okay, go get a coffee. Come back. Prompt. It's so slow, and it's slow because their goal is to try to build shippable code. Right? They're not taking shortcuts. They are building the back end, the database, all at the same time, right? Their goal is to replace programmers.
Mhm.
I don't believe that's ever going to happen, or it should happen. And so it's actually pretty slow for prototyping. I love the idea of creating these prototypes quickly. But these tools are kind of not the right tool to just create prototypes. And so that's kind of where we're going now. To create prototypes very fast based on the wireframes, keep it low fidelity so that you get good feedback. Yeah, so I'll show you the little video. Do you want to see it now? It's only a couple of minutes. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Then I want to hear your reaction. So I'm gonna play it at 2x and talk over it, okay?
Go for it.
Here we go. Okay, so this is Mike. So this, can you see the video?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is our designer. So first thing you see is a new, cleaner version of Balsamiq, a little more modern UI, more minimalistic. And then in the bottom left, there's a new, is it going? Yeah. What happened? Sorry, this is all new. The bottom left, there's a new AI assistant. And so you can say, create a shopping site, and it will create, using our templates and using AI, this, a whole flow. But then you get to continue to edit manually, which is something that the Bolt and the other ones don't have. And it's really frustrating. If you want to center an icon in a button, it takes 10 prompts. It's ridiculous, right? So just let me do it manually, right? So I believe that authoring tools in the future are going to need to have both prompting and manual interaction equally powerful. And so we have all the history of manual interaction, so we get to keep that. So you can edit manually, or you can still use the prompt to edit. So change the site name to something, Sneaker Vault, right? Or you can say, put an image of a sneaker. And so the AI can help you edit for things that maybe will be too slow to do manually. Now, the key is that in the background, we're always generating a prototype from your wireframes. And it's fast because we're never going to show you the code. We're never going to let you download the code. It's going to be crappy code, but fast. It's going to be only Tailwind, no different, And so it makes a prototype, and then you can also interact with the prototype to say, okay, do this, and then it will also update the wireframes for you at the same time. And then if you want, then you export to Figma, Webflow. You can copy the link to do comments, et cetera, or do usability tests with one of these tools. Or also the AI is going to tell you, hey, you can improve it this way or that way within Balsamiq. So that's what we're thinking.
When are you releasing this stuff?
We are showing this to our engineering manager right now. So
they don't know yet that they have to build it.
No, but they've been playing for a few months, and I'm very confident that we'll be able to do it in not too long, maybe 6 months, maybe less, hopefully less. But yeah, what do you think? I'm very curious. Is this something that looks appealing to you, and why?
I'll let someone else answer the question if anyone is.
And what's your job? I saw some claps. That was nice.
No one is brave enough to speak.
Come on, I'm friendly.
No, it's super cool. I want to use it. I'm a product manager, and I think you can even use it during stakeholder discussions. I also hate politics, but we have some. So maybe, since they're very visual, you can just show them, okay, this is your idea. Here's how it becomes. See how it doesn't work, or vice versa, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I want to tell you, in between now and where we ship this, I'll give you the way we work now, which is we create a static wireframe with Balsamiq very quickly, and then we paste that into Bolt and say, start from here. Because if you start with just a prompt, it's going to take you a lot of prompts to get to somewhere good. Instead, if you do a wireframe Balsamiq 5-10 minutes and give it to Bolt, then in one prompt, it will do what you want. So it saves you a bunch of time. And tokens.
Awesome. Anyone else?
What?
No, I was asking if anyone else wants to give their opinion on the tool that they saw. No, everybody's super shy.
You know, the question right now that we all have is our job safe? Right? Everybody's thinking that. PMs, developers, designers, they're all thinking the same. They're all either afraid that their job is going to go away, or they hope that they're going to be the only one last standing, that can do all of it. I don't know what the future really is going to be, but I get the sense that we're still going to need all the different roles, different sensitivities, different, there's going to be probably a lot more overlap where the PM will, be a little bit designer, a little bit coder, and vice versa, right? So it's good. That's going to be interesting and challenging to figure out how to coordinate people who can overlap for 80% of the time. Like, where are the boundaries if there's so much overlap? And so we're betting that a tool like ours can help with communication. You're still going to need to communicate with people. Or if you're building custom software, you still need to communicate with the client, right? So,
yeah, my take with AI is that we're going to be iterating 10 times faster than before.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going to be doing 10 times more things in the same amount of time. So we'll get faster at everything. So
I hate to admit it, but now using Balsamiq that's only manual without a prompt, I'm like, oh my God, this is so slow.
Stone Age.
Don't tell anybody, but even myself, I'm like, oh, come on, this is clunky.
And what about Figma? So actually, let me go with Fabio first. Go, Fabio.
Yeah, I'm a UX designer. I'm thinking about there is a way to upload our design system and prototype after based on our design system and design pattern.
Well, congratulations. You have the first feature request of the new product. I will write it down. That's very useful. Thank you very much. I don't see why not, right? Because I know that people already do. They put a wireframe with Balsamiq. They put an HTML that has their design system in it, all single page, and the prompt into Bolt, and say, turn this wireframe into a prototype using this design system. So I don't see why not. We could import it from Figma. We could import, I don't see why not. Although I do like the focus on low fidelity because it generates better feedback, but it can also be distracting. If you have a design system and everybody's used to seeing that the things with that design system, then it kind of feels like low fidelity. It doesn't. People are not going to comment on the color of the button because it's the old color that they already know. It's not something new, right?
But that was going to be my next question. So I think Figma has emerged as almost like the clear winner when it comes to design and design system and kind of a high fidelity prototyping.
Yeah.
And what we do fundamentally is like we almost do all the prototypes in high fidelity because you have the design system in Figma, do drag and drop.
Yeah.
So where do you see the difference between why should I use a Balsamiq if I have already everything in Figma, right? So
Because Figma is hard to use now. If you're a product manager, it has a learning curve. It's hard. So we already only have maybe 14% of our customers are professional designers. We are the tool that allows non-professional designers to participate in the process. And we're very happy with that. So all designers can live in Figma and know it, and et cetera. But I've spoken to many product managers, like, I try to learn Figma, but there's so much, it gives me all this control that I don't need. I just want to communicate my idea or help us make a decision about something. And so I want a tool that doesn't have all these bells and whistles, a very focused, simple tool. That's what we're about. It's hard to sell a design tool for non-designers. I tell you that, because all the press, they put us in direct competition. People don't understand that we're going after a completely different demographic.
mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about features, requests, priorities. How do you decide what to build, what to add, and how much space do you give to maybe bottom-up initiative, things that your team come up with, and decide what, and then kind of suggest changes?
Yeah, I have to say that's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite parts of being sort of head of product. I like it. I like the challenge of finding, making space for finding the right balance of, what to do. So we have a bottom-up process where people tell us, hey, we have to do this because of this deadline, or because of this technical debt is choking us, or because customers are very angry about this. So we tell everybody before there's a phase at the beginning of the planning where we tell everybody, okay, now's the time to bring up your ideas, your must-do ideas. Actually, bring up any ideas, but categorize them in must-do, absolutely, would really like to do, and everything else, and it's probably not going to happen. And so we have about a week of that. People do that. And then we see how much space is left after the must-dos, if we really must do the must-dos. And then we decide based on company goals, strategy. So we notice that we are not converting very well in activation. So we tell people, all right, bring your ideas about activation now for the next quarter. Or we know, so it depends a lot on sort of business goals. But we also let people give ideas based on what they know, what they think is important. And then there's a little bit of a struggle in figuring out doing the Tetris, the scheduling Tetris for the resources, because we're still a small team. And then we set up those rocks, which is a EOS concept for the quarter. And then we're heads down for 2.5 months until it's time to plan the next quarter. The one thing that I have done, I think there's an article on our website about it. One way that I think about strategy for product is that you have 3 pedals, 3 like accelerators. You have features, bugs, and chores. Chores are technical debt, stuff, performance stuff, security stuff that people rewriting, porting, stuff that people don't see, but that you have to do. And so each quarter you can decide which pedals you push and how hard you push. And a lot of it depends on the maturity of the product. So if you are just starting, you haven't even shipped, it's feature. Then once you ship, you get bugs, and some features that you didn't finish, right? Then you start scaling. Now it's chores all the time, because otherwise it's not going to, right? Then it's mature, and then you kind of do like a third for a few years. Then maybe it goes into maintenance mode. So no more features ever, only bugs. And then it becomes like only chores, only security fixes. So really the strategy depends a lot in the age of the product that you have, I think.
Mhm. Awesome. And how did you get to your first-time customers? So you kind of said that you launched the product and you automatically had a lot of adoption.
No, this was insane. Product market fit was not a thing. The word didn't exist yet, but I had that immediately. So I was launching on June 19, which we're turning 17 in a couple of weeks.
How did you launch? Where did you launch?
Launching meant just putting up the website and that's it, right? I didn't know anything about launching a product. But so I was putting the finishing touches on the product on the website. I was testing the integration with the shopping cart, right? This was a week before launch, and so I'm getting the email with the license back. It's Peldi test 1, Peldi test 2. John, I forget his last name. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I didn't. That's a bug. That's not. Turns out it was a real customer that had already found the website. It didn't have a password anymore. And so I wrote him, I'm like, dude, I haven't even launched. Oh no, this looks great. It was like, I found it and it looks good. And so I had my first customer 4 days before launching. So, and then after that, it immediately exploded. What I did was, turns out to be like a genius marketing move, but what I wanted was to learn. I was just alone, right? With no customers really. What I wanted was to find out. I knew the product was rough because it was version 1. And so I wanted to know what to work on next. And so I thought I need feedback more than money right now. I need people to try this out. And so what I did was I said, if you're a blogger, a tech blogger, and you want to write a review that tells me what's good and what's bad, I'll give it to you for free. Turns out bloggers love free stuff. And so that became a huge marketing thing because all of a sudden I had all these reviews that linked back to my website, which was great for SEO. And so then I started giving them 2 licenses, one for them and one to give away to one of their readers. And that worked well too. So I got the feedback that I wanted, but I also accidentally got a lot of marketing through that.
Super awesome. And who are some of your maybe more famous customers or companies that use Balsamiq in a...
Everybody. Name one. Everybody. Giant, all the tech giants. A lot of the tools that you use every day started in Balsamiq. Probably this one too. Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. I created a little AI agent now that looks at Stripe and looks up the domain of the person that purchased and asks ChatGPT, is this a well-known company? And if so, tell me a little bit about it. And then it sends it to Slack. So we have a Slack channel called new well-known customer alerts. And it's amazing. Every day there's like, oh yeah, this is the most important university in Peru, or blah, blah, blah. It's so fun. It's super fun.
Super nice. And what is the maybe like craziest thing that you've seen people doing in Balsamiq, or things that you didn't expect people would use Balsamiq for?
I'll tell you the craziest customer that I did not know was the Barack Obama campaign. And apparently they showed him some wireframes built in Balsamiq, and he was like, why is it using Comic Sans? Because at the time. So that I'm really proud of. But I mean, people use it for planning their house. They make little kitchen pieces, right? And move stuff around, planning their garden, plants, this and that. It's really
a tool for architects.
Absolutely. What it is, it's a very easy design tool for non-designers. And so people are like, yes, I can use it for whatever I want. Finally a design tool that I can just learn quickly and use.
Awesome. I don't know if you guys have any other question, curiosity.
How do you work? Tell me about you. What are your challenges with your process? How are you evolving your process with AI now?
Does anyone wants to answer this? Ivan, I see your face. Go for it.
I don't know. I'm very loyal to ChatGPT, even though it's same performance as many others. I have my folders, one for WeRoad, actually two for WeRoad, depending on what documents I want there. One for the new house I'm buying, one for tenants, one for each with the documents there. And I just constantly talk to them, more or less, for brainstorm. Let's say product wise, I do it for brainstorming. I don't write user stories anymore or even problem statements. I'm a very lazy typer, so I just don't type much anymore. I just speak to it and get a structured output that I can then paste where I need it.
Yeah.
And my developers are very happy about the user stories. Sometimes I forget I write them like that, but it works. It saves me time.
So you write user stories in text. Do you ever do anything visual to go with them?
Not as of now. We're doing a mobile app. So I could have used Balsamiq, but honestly, we did high fidelity prototypes from the first moment because our stakeholders like them like that.
And you have designers that's all they do.
That Fabio that spoke.
Right. So they're fast and
Yeah.
Sure. That works.
To be honest, I did the first mock-up of the app like 12 months ago using Balsamiq, by the way. So,
True.
So the first concept, even wasn't here yet, but the first concept was built in Balsamiq. Maybe Danilo, do you want to say how you build a Pokemon game over the weekend? I don't know if Danilo is still here.
No, I left the meeting.
I think he left.
It's gone.
So he did like a very interesting. You know our business, right? So we have coordinators that go and coordinate trips, and he built like a Pokemon style game where we have a road to summer this weekend, where coordinator can go and scan each other barcode and capture each other. And he built that over the weekend using some AI. I actually don't know what he used, so I was curious to know about that, but he's gone.
Did you guys do? Sorry if I'm hijacking. I'm interviewing you. But did you do any initiative to increase AI adoption across the company?
So with this team, we did a survey 4 or 5 months ago just to understand what people were using it for and various things, and then we push a little bit to get higher adoption of Cursor, especially on when it comes to coding. But yeah, I think it's something that we're trying to monitor and push for. We have a Discord channel where we kind of share with each other new things that we learn and spread the adoption. And last week I did a survey on the entire WeRoad company because we also want to try and understand how sales and marketing and other areas use AI. But yeah, I presented back to the investor a couple of weeks ago what we're doing with AI, and it was like a 15 pages PowerPoint of various things that we're using AI for. So we use it a lot, for example, in marketing to generate images, material. I don't know if you follow Paolo, which is the founder of WeRoad on Instagram, but he had a video launching the new app translated in 5 languages in Instagram. I think we use Agent to do that stuff.
Yeah, I have my own deep fake of myself speaking in Russian here.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
So yeah, I mean, it's actually revolutionizing pretty much everything. So
it's pretty wild. Yeah.